It starts with a question that hangs in the air like a quiet ache. How much pain can a person carry while still smiling for millions every single morning? Because behind the bright lighting, the polished delivery, and the calm presence of Ainsley Earhardt, there is a story few people truly understand. A story shaped not by politics, not by television, but by the kinds of personal storms that can break even the strongest among us. And in those storms, hidden behind the camera, are the tragic details that shaped her life long before viewers tuned in for the morning headlines. There's a moment people rarely see, a moment that happens before the cameras roll, when she sits in the makeup chair, eyes lowered, hands folded. The studio is quiet. A producer walks by, distracted by the day's breaking news. But there, in that small slice of silence, she gathers herself, steadying her breath. Because some days, the hardest part is remembering that she must be composed, that she must look unshakable, even when her world feels anything but. Her journey didn't begin with fame. It began in South Carolina, in a family that leaned on faith during difficult times. And like many families, there's faced chapters no one was ready for. Her father's sudden health scare changed everything, an unexpected stroke that forced her to confront how fragile life could be. She's spoken about standing in the hospital room, holding his hand, wondering if he would ever walk or speak again. The machines hummed, doctors whispered, and she realized, in that moment, how quickly the people we love can slip into uncertainty. How many viewers knew the weight she carried when she returned to her desk afterward, smiling as if nothing had happened? And then there was her marriage, more than one, in fact. The endings were not dramatic explosions, but slow, quiet unravelings. The kind that happen in private, behind closed doors, while the world assumes everything is perfectly intact. Her first marriage dissolved early in her career, long before she became a household name. But it was her second divorce that marked a deeper turning point. She's hinted at the heartbreak, the confusion, the painful conversations that stretched into the night. She tried to hold everything together. She tried to protect her daughter from the fallout. But sometimes, no matter how tightly you hold on, life insists on charting a different course. Imagine waking up at 2 a.m. for work, exhausted, heartbroken, and still responsible for delivering the day's optimism to millions. How does a person balance personal grief with public expectation? How does someone hold themselves upright when their home life feels like shifting sand? As she navigated those difficult years, she clung to something that had anchored her since childhood: her faith. She wrote about it. She spoke about it. She leaned on it in ways that only someone who has been pushed to their knees truly understands. And yet, even that pillar wasn't always enough to stop the loneliness from creeping in. Even hope can feel fragile when the world is watching. Her role as a mother became both her sanctuary and her greatest responsibility. She has described nights where she sat beside her daughter's bed, listening to her breathing, promising herself she would somehow build a life strong enough for both of them. But parenting after loss is its own quiet tragedy, filled with questions, fears, and moments when you wonder if you're doing enough. When you wonder if your child can sense the sadness you keep hidden. And then came the pressure of her job. People imagine television studios as glamorous places, but the truth is far more complicated. The harsh lights, the relentless schedule, the demand for composure. It all stacks up. Every public figure knows that the world can be quick to judge, quick to assume, quick to criticize. For Ainsley, this meant enduring scrutiny not just of her work, but of her personal life. Every decision became a headline. Every rumor became a debate. Every private moment felt like it lived under a magnifying glass. There's a particular kind of pain in knowing that strangers feel entitled to your story, that they dissect your struggles without ever truly understanding them, that they discuss your heartbreak as if it were entertainment, not the raw, vulnerable truth of your life. And yet, through all of it, she kept showing up. That is what makes her story quietly tragic. Not the scandals the public imagines, but the emotional battles most people never see. The sleepless nights, the fear of failing as a parent, the grief of watching a loved one's health collapse, the ache of broken promises, the pressure of performing strength on demand. These aren't the dramatic tragedies of movie scripts. They're the real human ones. The ones that settle deep in the heart and stay there. But the twist, the unexpected part, is that she didn't let those tragedies define her. Instead, they sharpened her. They softened her. They made her more aware of how fragile every sunrise is. She became the person who tells viewers she believes in hope because she's had to fight for it. She became someone who speaks about faith not because it's poetic, but because it's the only thing that kept her anchored when the storms were strongest. And maybe that's the lesson hidden inside her story. Maybe the real question is this: how many people in our own lives carry tragedies we never notice? The coworker who always smiles. The parent juggling too many responsibilities. The friend who claims they're fine. How much pain exists in the people we think have everything figured out? And if someone can walk through that much fire and still choose kindness, still choose faith, still choose hope, then what does that say about the strength we all might carry inside us, long before we ever realize it?